This is not working.
That's cool.
This was a gift from my youngest son from where he goes to university. There's this little town, this little alleyway that is basically Harry Potter land. Like, it looks exactly like the set. And they literally have all witchy like stuff that you could buy, all Harry Potter sort of stuff. There's a replica of Falcor, the dragon from the Neverending Story. It's so geeky, like, and yeah, they have these little things of theme tunes from which you turn. You know, there's really cool ones, and I don't know why
that is cool.
Working here.
It's
because my brain is backwards. Yeah.
Oh, because you're facing it towards me, but you have to.
Happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah. When you're listening to this, the first time you're able to listen and watch this is the last day of 2023. And you know what? I say good riddance. It's been a heck of a year. I've had so many hospital trips this year that I'm like, 2024, I just want healthy and happy. Those are the things I'm aiming for. So do let us know in the comments below. Forget like the things like, this year I'm going to do all this list. What are the things that you're aiming for that you're going to try and do? Let us know. Thank you for joining us for the last episode of this year. But don't forget, the first new one will be the first time that Chris and I do a live podcast, video cast from both our channels. How that's going to work, who knows? But it'll be fun. We will do something entertaining, I swear. I've got weird things to talk about this week because it's been a weird watching week this week. So I hope you find entertainment out of it. Chris is going to start us off again with who won the competition of the movie quiz. And I'm guessing you got some new ones as well.
I do have new quotes, yes.
Nice.
And a first shout out to Red Comet, Chris Retzlaff, mostly Nostromo. And, you know, if I don't know if Tara Briscoe even guessed this time, but her comments had been being like removed. I don't understand how this works, because if you've been commenting, whoever you happen to be, and your comments disappear, I'm not removing them. It's YouTube for whatever reason, like they just disappear. I know Nostromo had them.
Delete.
Yeah, delete. I close my eyes and just delete things on random or whatever.
Delete.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I have no idea where the comments go, why they just disappear. So
it's magic land.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So if that is happening to you, we apologize. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not removing them. I don't even know what to try. I don't know why. So, hey, there you go. But last week's theme was Christmas. And so, it was meant to be easy. It was a softball one. The answers: A Christmas Story, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Elf, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Love Actually, Home Alone, and White Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't get the first one and the last one.
Okay. I probably would not have I wouldn't have gotten White Christmas. That was in context, yes, but just pulling it out of the blue like that.
Yeah, I can't even remember. It's been so many years since I've watched that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I started watching it again this year because it had been a year or two since I'd watched it, and I got busy and then didn't get to finish it. But anyway, are you ready for this week?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. There is a theme. I'm not telling you what it is. Number one, I think I'm invincible. It's the only thing that makes sense. I don't think I can die.
That rings a bell.
You know it. Whether or not you remember it, it's the whole thing. Okay. Number two. Okay, Chief, take him away. I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
That's a great line. Okay.
Do you know that one?
I think so. I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. Last one. You have a yeah, it's a hard word. You have a regurgitative reaction to myths' truths.
That's also a good line. These are good lines. I don't know that I know that one. I mean, it probably seen
I had
it,
a
but
different.
it doesn't.
You have seen it. I think you've enjoyed it. But yeah. So let us know in the comments. Give us the answers. Hopefully YouTube doesn't delete it. I don't know what to tell you there. Ruben, do you have a question for us?
I have a fun question. Let's play. How much does that cost? Whichever country you're in, how much would this have cost? So I told the story to Chris this morning about my adventures of today. Because I was in 2 hospitals today for stupidness. But I saw a specialist of ear, nose and throat specialist doctor. I saw 2 nurses. I had an x-ray. I went to 2 doctors. I had 2 appointments. Was seeing probably about 7 medical people in total, especially with the phone calls as well. And I pretty much walked in and walked out. Like, I mean, we waited like an hour in the places, but that's really good. So yeah, the equipment that they used was an endoscopic, a nasal endoscopic. So I had a camera down my throat. Obviously the specialist, the 2 nurses, 2 doctors, X-ray. So that was free for me. How much in your country, in the ballpark, in the US, would that have cost, Chris?
Okay, well, just the trip to emergency, just to go into the ED, would be anywhere from $100 to $150
to walk through the doors.
Just to walk through the doors.
Okay.
Then, now that, assuming you have insurance, that's all you
covered.
pay then.
Okay.
Then everything else is covered from there.
Okay,
if you
cool.
don't, though,
yeah,
the X-ray could be, I don't know, $1,200, $12,000. Going to the ENT to have the endoscopy thing, that would be probably, I don't know, minimum $1,000. It would break you.
Oh, yeah, that would not be a fun Christmas. Do most people have insurance then?
No. And well, see, and there's the other thing too, is that like, even for me, when I had, at certain jobs I've had medical insurance, but the co-pays and all of the stuff that goes along with it made it prohibitive for me to use my health insurance.
Oh crap.
So I couldn't go.
So even though you have it, you couldn't go and
use it because I couldn't pay for the fees that came after.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily now, I mean, I work for a healthcare company, that's
the way to do
system.
it. Work for a healthcare company so that you know that their insurance will be covered.
Oh, yeah.
Be good.
Yeah. So my insurance, the doctors, everything are for the most part outstanding. And so, yeah. Other than that, though, it's...
So I know we've got listeners in India, Australia, Canada, and Africa. Ireland. Mm-hmm. Probably Scotland. So which part of the world that you hail from, let us know how much that would cost or whether it's free, because Chris and I have these conversations offline just about the stupidness of the world in places, and the healthcare systems for one. Like, it's not great in the UK, but compared to like America, it's flipping magical. But if you took and you compared us to France, say, or Switzerland, it's not very good. So you have these tiers of amazing healthcare. You talk about like if you're pregnant and you're going to give birth, you get like in Switzerland and France, you get an amazing amount of time off as a father. Never mind. Yeah, but in America, I know that's not even a thing. Like,
no.
Would you? Yeah, like you have a dad, you're not giving birth. Like,
I don't even think that. I mean, you can get maternity leave, but I don't believe it's actually paid by the government. It just assures that you don't lose your job.
Flip. So, okay.
Like, you can take paternity leave too. Like, I could, if my kids are grown, but
so that would be your holiday entitlement.
Yes, I could. I would basically take that, and then if I wanted to extend it past whatever I had of PTO saved up, I could maybe get, I don't know, I don't think in the US we'd get that, but like I know some countries get the reduced salary. You know what I mean? So if I want to like my allotted time and then you want to go more, they say, okay, well you get, now 60% of your salary.
At least that's time. Okay. Like you can still spend more time with your wife and get some money. I appreciate that. No. Yeah. So that's what would happen. And even if you went for an extended time, you could get like statutory sick pay, which would be covered under the like spending more time with your. So looking after your citizens, man. Those are the people that run your country. So what are you doing to them?
Yeah, well, and like you and I have talked, like when I look for jobs, when most Americans look for jobs here, healthcare is also one of the things that have to be considered within that
dental's
that
covered.
package.
Like, what do you cover? I often hear that in American movies. Is dental covered? And I always laugh. Like, why wouldn't it? The dentist is free, but it's not.
They're mouth bones. So dental is a separate thing, and eyes, vision is a separate thing, which I don't understand either. But like, so if I were to go over to the UK and try and get a job, I don't even have to consider the healthcare portion of that.
No.
It's just
In
now
fact,
it's based on the job and
Kirsten,
the salary.
My wife and I were talking today. It's better for you to go to the NHS than, especially if you're going to get a surgery of some kind or anything, rather than go private in this country, because the nurses in this country see so much of what they do that they're so good at it. So the people that are doing it private don't have nearly as much as this experience. So if you're like giving birth, it's much better, a higher probability for you to go to the NHS nurses who deliver hundreds of babies like every day, and they've seen everything. So if there's any complication,
they're on it.
Anyway, that was a fun little medical question of the differences between countries. But let's jump into the best thing we watched.
Yes. This was a weird week for me. I watched mostly just old stuff.
Okay.
Which I'm not going to talk about. But
because it wasn't the best thing you watched.
No, it was. It was great. Like I watched Serendipity, and we watched
I've been wanting to watch that
Christmas
for ages. Yeah.
And
good old fun times.
Yeah, just things that were fun. Enjoyed, low key, made me laugh and stuff. We stayed away this year from like Love Actually, even A Christmas Story. We stayed away from just because it kind of has some of those sad undertones in it.
Yeah, you don't want.
And we didn't want that.
We just want the happy this year.
Yeah, just wanted happy and stuff like that. But amidst that, I say all that wanting to stay away from some of the unhappiness, and that's probably why, because I watched with my wife this documentary series on HBO.
Okay. What's it called?
It's called Let Us Pray, a Ministry of Scandals.
Oh my gosh, this sounds like it's going to hurt me physically.
Dude, triggering. It's about, they focus on one,
a Ministry of Scandals?
Huh?
Let
Ministry of Scandals.
A Ministry of Scandals.
Let Us Pray. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
It's 4 episodes. It's the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church, I think is what they call it. I don't remember if that's exactly what it's like. IFB. And basically this tells the terrible, terrible, terrible stories of mostly young girls who were raped, abused, molested, groomed.
This looks brutal.
By church people in church
like
leadership.
Pastors. Yeah.
And youth pastors, and one guy was like he was a principal at the school. And then you also have like this one girl, her parents ran a boarding school, and the things that the parents, oh my gosh, but then you have the shuffling, which we've seen this within the Catholic Church. We've seen this within Boy Scouts. It is, tell you what brings out the demons that I want to hurt people. Well, yeah, they don't deal with it, and they just move them. They just shuffle them off someplace else.
All right, they don't want to deal with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or they don't report it, and they just dismiss the person.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
that
it's like,
person
no,
just
that's
moves to
not
another
something.
place, and
Yeah, perhaps you were acting inappropriately, which gave them. It's like it's always like the victim's fault.
oh yeah, oh no, there's a lot of victim blaming. It is it's obviously it's a very hard
So why, Chris?
documentary to watch. Because it first off, it was produced and told very well. There are a little bit of like repetitive moments because it's 4 episodes. Like you feel like they kind of like catch you up a little bit, even though you don't need to.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when this fully came out. It may have all dropped on the same day. It may have been out for a month. I don't know. But it almost felt maybe like it was weekly, so that they had to do the last time on without making it sound as cheap and cheesy as that. But like the production value is great, the storytelling, but more so, it's you have these gut-wrenching stories by the victims, and it's just shedding light. And I think that's what really needs to happen. I mean, we've had some documentaries on the Boy Scouts. We've obviously had documentaries on the Catholic Church. There's documentaries on, some Baptist thing that I even used to go to as a kid, and tell you what, that brought up all kinds of trauma.
He was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's just not good. But this is done really well. It's on Max. This is obviously not something that you're like, hey, let's watch.
Hey, that sounds fun for a Christmas time viewing.
Yeah. But I was sucked into it though. That was the thing that is as harrowing as it is to watch all these terrible stories. It's told in such an engaging way, and I keep waiting for the consequences.
Right.
Yeah. There are some, and then it's like just aggravating and infuriating at what some don't get, or how little of a punishment they get, and it goes back to parts of this is that the statute of limitations varies in states across the country, even in counties or whatever, of sexual assault.
So what, like shorter or longer?
Mostly shorter.
Oh,
Like murder pretty much, I believe, across the country does not have a statute of limitations.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't run out.
Yeah.
That should be exactly the same thing for any type of rape, child molestation, sexual assault, any of these things, because the victims, this is a long-lasting thing.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have to get therapy, and the future relationships are so messed up because of that baggage, that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter one time or, years. Yeah. I mean, it's such a traumatic and life-altering thing. So yeah. I mean, really, if you're in the mindset that you can handle something very heavy, it's interesting. It's very engaging to watch.
Yeah, sometimes you're in the mood for that. Like, it's like, give me something meaty, something dark, and then I will go and watch The Simpsons after. But
yes, there's absolutely, you need to like take the shower mentally and physically from watching it. But
that sounds interesting. Some of those stories, if done well, are riveting in a like very dark way.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, it'll bring tears to your eyes because of, you hear these things and the things that the people are told.
Yeah.
And yeah, no.
Well, talking about something lighter, if you happen to watch that, you could then go and watch Pokemon Concierge, which is a Netflix original anime stop-motion Pokemon series. That was
a lot of words.
Mouthful. Yeah. It's only 4 episodes, but it is like an original studio in Japanese where they did the stop motion. Now, you can go on YouTube and watch short 4-minute sequences of the making of. So it gives you an idea, and you see how it's all real, as in like they've moved it. It's all felt stop motion characters, so they have a real movement, a texture to them, the tangible world. Everything feels very realized. It's about this young woman who has like one of the worst days of her life. She breaks up with her boyfriend. Stuff in her life is just all going wrong. So she ends up finding a new job and going to this island where she becomes a Pokemon concierge. And the first day, she's told by the woman that runs the island, says, you just have to be one of the people that come to visit. You need to enjoy the island. So she goes and explores what Pokemon concierge is all about and what this island is about. And that's where she meets like the different types of Pokemon. So it's a holiday resort for people to come and see other Pokemon with their Pokemon, but it's mostly a resort for Pokemon as well to come and relax and like get pampered. So they have all sorts of different games and massages, sports for them, places that some bigger Pokemon will need to explore, like stretch their wings, like a Charizard, you know, that kind of. I have to say, it's one of the most original Pokemon stories in its own world that is totally Pokemon, that like manages to take everything that is Pokemon, tick all those boxes that you think you got to have, the crazy characters, the Pokemon where the character gets to choose, that's going to be my first Pokemon, you know, the Ash moment, all of that is in here, and yet it's its own unique story and just cute. Like seeing the stop motion, if you know anything about stop motion, you know how much time and effort is, how long. I think that's the reason why they're like short episodes. They're 10 to 15 minutes and there's only 4. But like, I know how much effort it takes to do 4 seconds of a stop motion, and with what they're putting in like their budget, you can see that the love and experience that they've put into it. I thought this was really good. Like if we could get loads more of this, I would totally be into this. This is really fun. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that wouldn't get something out of this. Like, even if you don't know Pokemon, if you need something that's just gonna make you smile, this has got to be it. Like, this is the good stuff. Got one of my favorite Pokemon that is almost as unique as not unique, is almost as integral to Pokemon as Pikachu is. You got Psyduck in here. And I've always connected with Psyduck. He's this character that he's always got a headache because of his psychic powers. And when it gets too much, his psychic powers just go crazy. And there's a big part of the storyline that is in this with our character, and it's just fun. Yeah, it's really good.
Nice. So this is all ages, right?
Oh yeah. This is not only all ages, but like everybody will gather around. Like, talk about Christmas viewing. Gather around the TV, chatting away, eating your leftovers and your chocolates from your stockings. This would be like perfect viewing for that.
Nice. Yeah, I am always impressed by stop motion because, 24 frames to make 1 second.
Dude.
That's
yeah. It's inspirational. Like there's a part of me that goes, I'd like to try that, and then I look at how much work that goes into it, and I'm like, cool. You do that, other you. yeah.
I'll just watch and enjoy. Thank you. Yeah. It's the same thing with like the Artman studios. That I love that we can see the thumbprints and the fingerprints within them and stuff, and that's the same type of thing when you have the felt and it gives you this lived-in texture.
When you see some of the hairs on the felt move, I'm like, how? Who did that?
Oh, yeah. That's...
Cause
wow. Is it just because maybe the camera is just like so close and able to capture such detail?
So when you're doing stop motion with movement of camera, you're moving the camera with the character. So you move the camera a little bit back, and then you move the stop motion, you move it a little bit. And then if you have it on a slider, like, so you can have a crane, so you're moving it sideways and sliding, and that gets really complicated. But because you're moving at the same time, you could possibly fake some like wind blowing on there, like that. But it's so clever, so unique. I love how little details like that make it feel very real, very lived in. There's that one of my favorite creators who did the another stop motion, the Fox one.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox.
Yeah. They do the same thing with the hares, and then they went and did the dog one as well, which is incredible.
I love dogs. Yep.
Yeah. But you see,
both Wes Anderson films.
Yeah, I like those two Wes Anderson films. Crazy. Anywho, what's next on your list?
This one I wasn't sure I was gonna like, and it's not the greatest, but it still was fun, and it kept my my attention the whole way through. And it is the Money Heist, La Casa de Papel spin-off series.
I saw you did a review for that. I was wondering because I was like, because that other one was like,
Yeah, the remake, the Korean remake, I didn't even finish part 2. I didn't even start part 2 because it just it was
it's
exactly
the same.
The same.
It's not new and it's not better. So
that was exactly. This it is a little strange because in the last season or the second to last season of Money Heist, we got a couple of episodes that kind of went sideways with following Berlin before he had met up with his brother to do these heists.
Yeah, that was the last season. Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of what this is. So it is before, the Mint of Spain or the Spanish Mint, whatever you want to call it.
It's a prequel.
Yes, an offshoot all at the same time.
Because isn't Berlin younger there?
It's supposed to be a few years before that, but because it's years after Money Heist has actually ended, he looks older. I mean, it's just kind of
weird. Okay, yeah.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? I just was like, whatever. Okay, I'll do
whatever.
But it's not any of the same crew that he used in that one.
But I like them.
Was a little weird, Yeah. But the whole setup, I mean, it's very familiar with of the series, even down to the characterizations of people.
Oh, really?
So you'll have the hot-headed one, and you'll have the,
they're making sure they're ticking the boxes of the same sort of team.
Yeah. It's 8 episodes. It is too long. There's at least one full episode that is unnecessary. It's set up for just a couple of tiny little things that affect later in the story, but those could be easily
you could put those easily in others.
Yeah. So it's not perfect by any means, but I still felt myself like holding my breath and being anxious at moments, because there are times where the characters are getting themselves into those situations like, that we've seen before. Yeah. And even though I'm like 99% sure they're going to get out of it, there's because we're only episode 4, you know what I mean? Or so episode 3.
Unless they,
unless they're going to do a twist where they get caught and put in jail and then have to figure out how to get out of there. Which I would totally be down for that. That would be outstanding, right? A heist that goes
different.
Wrong. Yeah. And
that was always part of the plans to get caught because there's something. Yeah, we should write this,
dude. That would be outstanding. That would be a great twist because it would make it feel more fresh.
Yeah.
So this was. I mean, I'm still like I like the characters. There's some. There is some like humor to it. There's some heartfelt moments as well. Not all of it is awesome, but it was like, again, it held my attention, and I think partially because it's reminiscent of the original series. So it's some of that quick writing and quick editing that moves us along for the most part. Well,
mostly,
yes, exactly. It's not anywhere as good as that first season of Money.
Nothing's going to touch that. Like in terms of heist, not even Ocean's 11 is as good as that.
Yeah, that was so
fantastic.
I mean, the whole thing. I was hoping that maybe we'd see like the professor.
Yeah.
At one point.
Does he not? There's no cameo.
No. There are a couple of cameos though that come in of people from La Casa de Papel, but not not massive. I mean, they're integral in one way, but so it's fun. It's an easy binge. I mean, it will take you a chunk of time. But if you were watching it even over a couple of days or even episode at a time, you know, and here and there and stuff like that, it's fun enough to be entertaining and mostly engaging. But I think also because it's so familiar, that it can feel slower in spots because you're like, okay, there's going to be this because it answers this because I've already planned for this.
Yeah, if they're going to do something like that, they need to really change it up.
Yeah,
keep it
I'm
fresh.
Totally down for the.
Oh my gosh! If they do another, make them get caught, and you're like, what? This doesn't, and then they have to escape it.
Yeah, because the prison is actually connected to the place that they want to.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
I'm down for that. Yeah. So, okay. What's next on your list?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, it's been a weird week of watching for me. I might as well just I've only got 3, and then I've got an animation thing. It's not anime, but I'll do my 2 now because they're very related to each other. I watched Ricky Gervais's Armageddon. He's new Netflix live stand-up. And I watched Trevor Noah's Where Was I? He's new Netflix stand-up. It's one of the things I like to do during the Christmas period when these new stand-up performances come out. I like to watch the new stuff from people that I like for different reasons. Trevor Noah, because he's South African, he does social politics comedy so well. Like he basically just says what's going on in the world and you laugh because it's disastrous and true. Or like when you think about things, like there's a segment that he talks about national anthems, and he goes on about like Germany changes their national anthem because it used to be I'll let you watch that bit because it's really funny. But he also talks about how America is like the only place in the world where you sing your national anthem at all your sports games when there aren't other international sports teams. So it's like one team versus another team, both Americans, but you're singing the national anthem to yourselves, really. It's like, that's not a thing in the rest of the world. And I was like, that's true. That's crazy.
That's interesting. I had never thought about that.
But like, what? So he just points things out that are true. So, and because he's South African, the humor there that I really relate. So, I mean, he's barely South African now. He does like the world tours, but like, you know, in my mind, that's Trevor Noah has that humor that just cracks me up. And then you get Ricky Gervais, who I always laugh at because he says things that you're like, I probably would have thought that, but I would never say that. Never say that. And he, like, you think he's found the new bar, and then you see himself laughing. He says, my wife told me not to do the voice, but I'm going to do the voice. And then he just, like, no, what did you just say? My son walked in, and he was just like, what? And that's coming from, like, young teens, like, pushing the boundaries. Yeah. Ricky Gervais's Armageddon is some of the funniest, again, real things when he talks about religion, but he talks about it with the woke culture, and he just goes for it on the woke culture. And I was just so happy. It made me just like giddy to him just kind of pointing how things are. Trevor Noah talks about things like trans. The issue with trans toilets. Why does America make things an issue that's not really an issue? He says because it's misdirection by your politicians to make you think about one thing that's not, like a small minority of people are talking about one thing, and then they'll move things along on other places. And I'm like, that's totally accurate. That's what we've been saying for years. Because who's going to check? Can I just see your junk to check whether you're actually, so you can go and pee? It's like, whoever you are, just go to the toilet. It says if you're the person taking the time to look at people's junk, then maybe you're the creep. You say, because you shouldn't be doing that in the public. Who does anything that you in the public toilet? You go, you do your thing, you use a hazmat suit and you walk out. You know, like it's true. Why is that an issue?
You remember, I mean, so when you visited me and you went into some of the restrooms here, I mean, our toilets are are terrible, right?
Yeah.
Our
Yeah,
public
they're
toilets.
gnarly. They're gnarly, man.
Because they're completely open at the top, they're completely open at the bottom, and then there's gaps on the doors.
This is, you're like sneak through. You could have anybody. Hello there.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a tweet this week where I don't know who he is, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, apparently he's a troll, but he was taking pictures at an airport bathroom because they had redone it and they made it all genders. But here's the thing: I got to see a photo of the toilets.
Yeah,
dude, it's a room. It's literally solid door, no gaps. You walk in, and so if you're a family or whatever, so it's a single
that's
occupancy.
That's just a toilet. Yeah, you just lock it and close.
Well,
that's fine. There's no issue there.
Well, they were like, who's going to tell him when he gets on the plane? It's an all-gender restroom there. At your house, it's an all-gender restroom. Just
a toilet's a toilet.
Yeah, and then...
Nah, sorry,
and especially
this is... Yeah. Can I check your junk, please?
Yeah. Well, people were reporting him. They were like,
Really?
airport, you have some weird guy taking pictures of people, kids and families walking into the bathroom. I think you need to do something
you
about
are the
this.
creep. It's you. You're the creep.
Yeah, you're so obsessed with which... I mean, the dude who was in charge of the redesign, he actually got on and responded to him and just tore him up. It was
brilliant. That's amazing.
Because it's not like those trashy American toilets, which are predominantly everywhere.
Old school toilets, like you got gaps on top, gaps below. You're like
gaps everywhere. Yeah,
why? Don't do that.
I don't understand that.
I don't need somebody sliding underneath, going, "Hello, what you doing?"
Yeah, no. I want privacy.
Trevor Noe, he goes back to history. So a little while ago, women were just allowed to use toilets, and men were like, "Well, how's this going to work? How's a woman?" And then there weren't even toilets, so women had to go back home to use the toilets. Like, so he was comparing like the differences in society where we come along, and then when like gay people weren't allowed to, it was like, what do you think is going to happen in the urine? And he does like some crude stuff. It's like, "Hello there, I'm gay. Now I'm just going to grab your thing while you're weeing and start doing this." And then he goes, oh look, we can meet later at a restaurant, and then I might like it, and then we might get in a relation, and then I might fall in love, he says. And he just like, it's like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, and I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't think because we didn't go to any sporting events. Okay. At most sporting venues in the U.S., I don't know what the women's restroom look like, but the men's restroom, there are just a trough. There's not even dividers.
Oh, there's not even urinals. It's just like the metal.
Literally like, yeah, it's like a big tub that you pee in.
And everybody you find a spot on the ceiling. And
and so all of these manly men who love sports, and they're who are also then completely offended by closed off restrooms. They're what? Come on,
hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so both of these live, they point fingers at society. They they make fun of themselves, but they also like around the world what humans are like. And Ricky, he says some stuff about comedy and how we used to be able to take things as a joke. We could say stuff, and he says, "Well, the reason why comedy is comedy, when people are telling a joke, it's a way for us to cope with the shittiness of our lives, of what's going on in the world. We can laugh at that." So the stuff that we were laughing at 20 years ago, we can't laugh at now. What has happened to society? Like, seriously, we were laughing at stuff because it was so hard 20 years ago, but what war are these young generations are actually going through? Like, it's so when he compares like what woke culture is actually and what woke actually means to what people are trying to say that it means now, he was just like ripping it to shreds. So if you need some good laughs, they're mostly clean. Like, Trevor Noah is more clean than Ricky for sure, but Ricky says stuff that you want people to talk about, but isn't okay unless you're a comedian. So
And these are both on Netflix, right?
They're both Netflix originals, yeah.
Right on. I did watch a comedy special too. I watched
Great.
Jimmy O Yang. We watched both of his on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
And so, yeah. So that was
Okay.
That was fun. So anyway,
Cool.
because you'd already talked about that and told me that I should watch it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to check out. I'm typically not a big fan of Ricky Gervais. I've
I
watched
get
him
that.
some
Yeah.
in like in Afterlife,
Hmm.
and I liked him there.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
And I think maybe some of it is just because of how uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Because he's so pointed, you know what I mean? And that's pushing the boundaries into comedy, which points out the things, those pain points or whatever. And if you look at most good comedians, they're not telling jokes.
Yeah.
They're talking about life and finding the funny or absurd moments within that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where because then everybody can relate to it. They're like, oh my gosh, yes. And so,
I mean, he does this story about trying to pick the favorite son. One son is like, when you're doing presents for them at Christmas, and he's like, one son's like, what do you want for Christmas, son? He's like, I just want a tennis racket, Dad. He's like, oh, here you go. I'm number one in school with tennis. Oh, you go, son. He's like rubbing his kid's head. And then he's like, Timmy, what do you want? And Timmy wants Timmy wants the electric ski. And he's like, are you kidding? That's $2,000, because Timmy has no legs and no arms and is like obviously disabled. And a ramp? It's like, sorry, other son that's good at tennis, you can't get your tennis racket because Timmy is being so greedy. I was just like, and that's the sort of stuff you'll get in. I was like,
oh my gosh.
He does the voice as well. He goes like, today? I'm like, no, you can't say that. You know, when you're uncomfortable, and I think that's what you're talking about with Ricky. So if you need something less uncomfortable, go to Trevor Noah, who does like social politics. Ricky Gervais does the stuff that you want to hear people talk about, but you would never utter in like conversations with your parents, right?
Yeah. Oh goodness. I'll have to. I think I'll probably watch Trevor Noah, but probably gonna stay away from Ricky.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So, what's on your animation?
So I talked about last week. I talked about What If, the first 2 episodes, and since then, because they've been releasing like one every day, there's been a bunch more. But I wanted to talk about one specific episode because I rewatched Die Hard. It's been a few years since I watched it, but I watched I think since when we did a special.
Oh, last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Whether or not it was a Christmas movie, yeah.
Yeah. So I rewatched it and I was like, yeah, this is still great. It's a bit slow now, but the editing, it's changed compared to what we did. Like, I loved it,
Sure.
all the classic nights. But there is an episode of What If called What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas? And, you know, Happy, the character, is Tony Stark's security guy. He falls in love with Spidey's mom. It's that character, but he's always the guy that kind of is the guy that doesn't really have any expertise. He's the security specialist, but he doesn't really have any, like, he doesn't do much except so this time he gets to be the hero for the whole of they're in the Avengers Tower, which is like Tony Stark's tower. And there's this big party that Happy is putting on. He says he keeps saying to some of the others, like, hey, I can be involved in more. It's like, no, this party's got to go off without a hitch. You're in charge of that. Please fix that. Except some bad guys who happen to be Arnie Hammer. Not Arnie Hammer. The Hammer. You know the guys that are trying to.
Oh, Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer. That's it. I knew it was a Hammer, not Arnie Hammer.
Yeah, Army Hammer. He eats people.
Yeah, he's not a good dude. Tries to come and steal some of Tony's tech that's in the building, which happens to be a sample of Hulk's blood. Oh. You're like, well, that's not good. So it ends up being a Die Hard Christmas special, like with all the in the vents.
Fun.
Yeah, but at some point, like, he will get Hogan will get the blood instead and have the blood injected into him, so he becomes a version of his own Hulk, and it just gets funnier and funnier. Even the Avengers will try and attack him because there's this new monster and they think he's the bad guy. But there's so many references to the Die Hard moments that just work really well in this episode. I was laughing like pretty much the whole way through. I was just, this is great. It's like they made it a Christmas story. They made it unique in the What If universe, and then they did one of the greatest Christmas movies ever in action, and just really played great homage to it. It was really clever.
That's outstanding. Oh, man. So are all of them out now? All the episodes?
I think they're out. The 9th one should be out today. Let me see how many are out there. Yeah, they're all out now. Okay. The last one dropped today, I believe.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I still haven't watched, even though I had access.
You had access
to all
to it, but you didn't watch them.
I didn't.
Okay.
Didn't get the opportunity.
Could have sent them to me, dude. I'm just saying.
Dude, have you read the NDA on the Disney thing?
The Disney stuffs are like,
they
will
are
end you and your family and your extended family.
Yeah. It's like you acknowledge that nobody else can even hear when you watch this. What? Yeah, it is. I mean, they're
intense.
Serious stuff, and Disney has some big lawyers, so yeah, you don't mess around.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
That's everything.
Okay, yeah, shorter week this week. I don't have anything really. I mean, it was all those just old movies. So anyway, coming up in our audio only portion, the extended audio, we are going to be talking about the thing that did not make our list. Could be the worst, could just be something that just wasn't the best. We're also going to be talking about a movie that I haven't seen for a really long time. I don't know. Had you seen it recently?
It's been a long time. It's been a few years. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about Starship Troopers. So that will be fun. We'll also hit up entertainment news, things that are coming out this coming week that you may want to put on your watch list. Do not forget, we have a Patreon, and thank you so much to all our patrons that we have. It's a great community. I think we're close to 80 videos.
Yeah.
So a couple of them are outside the paywall, so that you can just get a sense of what we get up to. But entry price to get access to all of them is £1, which is like $1.30, something like that, $1.40, depending on the exchange rate. So patreon.com/thebeardedones. It is on the screen. It's also in the description below. We invite you to check that out. And if you'd like to join, we would love to have you there. Again, our audio only. So wherever you have to listen to podcasts, you can hear us there, access us, just search for The Best Thing We Watched. Coming up next week, at least from this recording, January 6th, 2024, Ruben and I are going live on each of our channels. We haven't tested this out yet.
I know.
Which is a little nerve-wracking, and that's my fault. But it will be something to behold. We invite you to join us as we do our show just live, but then we get to interact with you, and you can comment to us, ask questions, whatever. And so will it be fun? Hopefully. Will it be entertaining? Maybe. I don't know. I hope so too. It will have a runtime. We'll say that. So we do invite you to join us there. With that, did I forget anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you, and we will see you next week. Take care.